Did you know that there was an exceptional one among the centaurs, wild and rough creatures? A being of wisdom and kindness, master of heroes, and bearer of a divine lineage. Discover the fascinating story of Chiron, the wise centaur. On the slopes of Mount Pelion in ancient Thessaly, Chiron was born, a unique creature among the centaurs. His origin goes back to a story of love and transformation. Cronus, the titan of time and king of the Titans, met the beautiful nymph Philyra on the green slopes of Mount Pelion. Cronus, captivated by Philyra's beauty, pursued her with fervor. To escape his advances, Philyra transformed herself into a mare, but Cronus, cunning and powerful, changed his form to that of a horse and thus consummated his union with her. From this unusual union was born Chiron, half man, half horse. Unlike other centaurs known for their wild and unbridled nature, Chiron inherited the wisdom of the gods and the grace of the nymphs. His appearance was imposing, with the strength and majesty of a horse combined with the intelligence and face of a man. From childhood, Chiron showed an inclination towards knowledge and understanding of the world around him. He was raised by two powerful gods. Apollo, the god of light, music, and prophecy, was the first to take young Chiron under his wing. With patience and skill, Apollo taught him the secrets of the lyre and the flute, allowing music to flow through the centaur's fingers like a torrent of celestial harmony. Chiron learned to master the melodies that lulled the stars and to interpret the prophecies hidden in the musical notes. Artemis, the goddess of hunting and nature, also became the centaur's mentor. With her, Chiron explored the vast forests and rugged mountains, learning to track the most elusive prey and to move with the grace and stealth of a feline. The goddess taught him the secrets of plants and healing herbs, enabling him to develop an extensive knowledge of natural medicine. Under the guidance of these gods, Chiron flourished, becoming a scholar in various disciplines. His avid mind absorbed each lesson like a sponge, and his heart was filled with reverence for the vast knowledge that opened before him. Soon the centaur became an expert in divination, able to read the signs of the sky and decipher the mysteries hidden in the bowels of the earth. As his wisdom grew, Chiron immersed himself in the study of philosophy, exploring the intricate labyrinths of thought and ethics. His insatiable curiosity led him to question the limits of human knowledge and to seek answers in the deepest recesses of existence. His mind was as sharp as his bow, and his heart as wide as the valleys of Pelion. Chiron chose to live in a cave in the mountains of Pelion, where he surrounded himself with books, herbs, and all kinds of musical instruments. His home became a sanctuary of wisdom and peace, a refuge for all those who sought knowledge and guidance. The gods respected Chiron for his wisdom and gentle nature. They often visited him to seek his advice or simply to enjoy his company. Chiron, in turn, honored the gods with sacrifices and prayers, always maintaining a close relationship with Olympus. In ancient Greece, Chiron's fame as a being of wisdom and goodness spread throughout the known world. His cave on Mount Pelion was not only his home, but also a place of learning for those who would become known as the greatest heroes of their time. Chiron opened the doors of his abode to promising young men, offering them an education that was not limited to the art of war, but also encompassed healing, music, and philosophy. Among his pupils were figures who would go down in history for their exploits and virtues. Chiron's cave resounded with the clash of swords as the centaur trained Achilles in the art of war. With precise movements, Chiron guided his disciple in the expert handling of weapons, such as the spear and sword, as well as in hand-to-hand combat tactics. But Achilles' training went beyond the physical aspect. The wise centaur molded the young hero's strategic mind, teaching him to analyze the battlefield, anticipate enemy movements, and make crucial decisions in the heat of battle. Chiron emphasized the importance of discipline, courage, and righteousness in combat. He instilled in Achilles the utmost respect for life, reminding him that even in war, one must maintain compassion for the fallen. These lessons would forge Achilles' character, making him a noble and just warrior whose exploits in the Trojan War would be celebrated for centuries. After completing Achilles' training, Chiron turned his attention to Jason, the heir to the throne of Iolcos. The centaur recognized an adventurous spirit and a heart determined to conquer epic challenges in the young man. Therefore, Chiron focused on the skills needed to lead the Argonauts' expedition. Jason learned to read the star charts and interpret the natural signs that would guide their course on the vast sea. He became an expert navigator, able to read the winds, currents, and wave patterns. Chiron also instructed him in leadership strategies, teaching him how to inspire and unite his crew in times of adversity. Thanks to these lessons, Jason would be prepared to face the dangers and challenges he would encounter in his quest for the coveted Golden Fleece. After Jason, it was the turn of Heracles, the mighty son of Zeus, to be mentored by Chiron. The centaur recognized in the young man an enormous strength that needed to be channeled and refined. He therefore subjected Heracles to rigorous physical training, guiding him in the mastery of the bow, the javelin, and hand-to-hand combat. He also tested himself in the wilderness, forging his endurance and survival skills. But Chiron understood that physical strength was not enough. He cultivated in Heracles virtues such as perseverance, humility, and overcoming obstacles. He taught him to control his temper and use his strength wisely. These lessons molded Heracles' character, preparing him for the 12 labors that awaited him and would elevate him to the level of a legendary hero. Finally, Chiron turned his attention to the young Asclepius, whose destiny was tied to the art of healing. The wise centaur immersed his disciple in the vast knowledge of healing herbs, medicinal plants, and natural remedies. Asclepius learned to identify each plant, prepare them properly, and combine them to treat various ailments. Chiron also instructed him in anatomy and basic surgical procedures, teaching him how to heal wounds and relieve pain. But beyond practical knowledge, the centaur instilled in Asclepius a respect for human life and a firm commitment to alleviating the suffering of the sick. He taught him to see each patient as a unique and valuable being, worthy of compassion and care. These teachings laid the foundation for Asclepius to become a revered healer whose influence would endure even after he was elevated to the rank of god of medicine. Chiron not only shared his knowledge but also instilled values such as humility, patience, and perseverance. His teaching went beyond practical skills. It was about forming the character and spirit of his disciples. He taught them to seek harmony with nature and to respect both gods and mortals. And so the years passed placidly in the cave of Chiron on the slopes of Mount Pelion. The wise centaur spent his days instructing the most illustrious heroes of Greek mythology, imparting his vast knowledge of the arts of war, hunting, music, and healing. However, even a being as wise and benevolent as Chiron was not exempt from suffering the consequences of the actions of others. In a fateful battle between the centaurs and the Lapiths, a tribe of warrior men, fate would lay a cruel ambush for him. The feud had erupted over an ancient resentment between the two sides, and soon the battlefield became a chaos of shouting, clashing weapons and the neighing of centaurs. Amid the fray, Heracles, the mighty hero who had been a disciple of Chiron, fought bravely against the centaurs. In an unexpected twist of fate, one of Heracles' poisoned arrows veered off course, piercing Chiron's thick skin. The wise centaur fell to the ground, poison snaking through his veins. "Chiron, no!" Heracles shouted, rushing to his mentor's side, his face unhinged with anguish. Chiron, though weakened by pain, managed to sketch a faint, reassuring smile. "Fear not, my son. This is a blow of fate, but not the end of my journey." Despite the desperate attempts of Heracles and other heroes present, Chiron's wound proved incurable. Poison coursed through his body, causing him indescribable suffering, but unable to take his life due to his immortality. In the days and weeks that followed, Chiron struggled between endless agony and the serenity that had always characterized his existence. He tried every known remedy, from the simplest to the most complex, but nothing could alleviate his torment. As he lay in his cave, tortured by pain, Chiron pondered his fate. Despite his long life dedicated to knowledge and wisdom, he was now trapped in an endless cycle of suffering. His immortality, once a blessing, had become a curse. In his darkest moments, the centaur wondered if he had offended the gods in some way, if this torment was a punishment for some unknown transgression. On the other hand, Prometheus, the titan who had been punished for stealing fire from Olympus and giving it to mankind, was chained to a rock, condemned to suffer the daily attack of an eagle that devoured his liver, which regenerated every night. Prometheus's release required a sacrifice. An immortal was to take his place. Therefore, in an act of altruism and compassion, Chiron offered his immortality in exchange for Prometheus's freedom. This gesture not only demonstrated his desire to end his suffering, but also his sense of justice and his love for humanity. Gathering his remaining strength, he sent a messenger to Mount Olympus, requesting an audience with the gods. When the Olympians appeared before him, Chiron told them of his plight with humility and dignity. He told them of his unceasing pain, of the torture of being caught between life and death. And finally, he begged them to allow him to give up his immortality. The gods, moved by Chiron's suffering and admiring his wisdom and nobility, granted his request. One by one, they approached the centaur's bed, gently stripping him of his immortality and releasing him from his agony. In his last moments, Chiron felt a peace flood his being. There was no more pain, no more torment, only a sense of calm and acceptance. With a serene smile on his face, the wise centaur spoke his last words, thanking the gods for the opportunity to have lived and taught. Thus, Chiron, the teacher of heroes, the guide of brilliant minds, finally found the rest he had longed for. Zeus released Prometheus and allowed Chiron to leave the world of the living, ending his agony. In recognition of his wisdom and kindness, Zeus decided to honor him uniquely. Zeus transformed Chiron's spirit into a constellation, allowing him to live in the night sky as Sagittarius. There, Chiron would continue to guide mortals, no longer as a teacher of heroes, but as a celestial beacon inspiring the pursuit of knowledge and overcoming challenges. This video was created for Labyrinth of Crete. And for you, what does the story of Chiron, the wise centaur, teach you?